Good morning, students. I hope you enjoyed your rainy days. You take special care about your health during these days. Always use hot water to drink, eat homemade foods, avoid your outdoor games, but do some physical exercise and maintain a good health. Suppose if you feel sick, consult your doctor. Don't go for self-medicines. The second coronavirus have started, so be cautious about your health. Use a mask while going out of the house. Stay safe, stay home, and stay blessed. Now we'll move into History Lesson 8, Nationalism, Gandhian Pace. We are considering Gandhiji as a father of our nation. He introduced Satyagraha in Indian national movement and he dedicated to the cause of the poorest of the poor. Why we are calling him like that and what is the reason behind it? We'll see one by one in this lesson. First is evolution of Gandhi. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born on 2nd October 1869 at Porbandar in Gujarat. His father was Kaba Gandhi and mother Putlibai. His father was a Diwan of Porbandar and later he became Diwan of Rajkot. Here Diwan means a king. His mother, she influenced the young Gandhi. After passing the matriculation examination, he sailed to England to study law in 1888. Then after becoming a barrister in June 1891, that is after completing his study, he came to India. And he studied in Britain, so he was a firm believer in British sense of justice and fair play. After returning to India, a Gujarat firm in South Africa offered an opportunity for Gandhiji for the assistance in a lawsuit, and Gandhiji accepted the offer and he left for South Africa in April 1893. Gandhiji faced racial discrimination, that is discriminating people based on color, white and blacks, for the first time in South Africa on his journey from Durban to Pretoria. At the Pietermaritzburg railway station, he was physically thrown out of the first class compartment. Gandhiji was determined to fight because in South Africa it is under the control of same British government, but there they follow racial discrimination. They won't allow blacks to travel in the first class compartment. So for that they thrown away our Gandhiji. That is the first incident where he faced racial discrimination. After facing this racial discrimination, Gandhiji called a meeting of the Indians in the Transvaal. So in South Africa already some Indians are there. They worked as a slave in the tea estates of the British. So some people they worked in Transvaal and exhorted them to form an association to seek redress for their grievances. Actually, in South Africa, Indians in the Transvaal, they had to pay a poll tax of $3 and they could not own any land and could not move outdoors after 9 p.m. without a permit. So he launched a struggle against such unjust law. So here in Transvaal, in South Africa, we have a place called Transvaal. There many Indians are there as well as Africans also there. So they were prohibited to do certain things because it is under the control of British. Gandhiji started a struggle against these kind of things in the South Africa. He was much influenced by Tolstoy and John Ruskin. So Tolstoy wrote a book called The Kingdom of God is Within You, and Ruskin's Unto This Last, and another man Thoreau's Civil Disobedience. So Tolstoy, John Ruskin and Thoreau, they were the great writers of the world countries, and Gandhiji was admired with their writing. And deeply influenced by the Western civilization and industrialization, Gandhiji, inspired by Ruskin, and Gandhiji established a Phoenix settlement and the Tolstoy farm in South Africa. So, based on this John Ruskin and Tolstoy, he started a Phoenix settlement and Tolstoy farm. So, these are there, they show equality, community living, and dignity of labor were inculcated in these settlements, and they were training grounds for the Satyagrahis. So there he allowed blacks to settle in this community, and there they shown the dignity of labor and equality, and Gandhiji gave training for the Satyagrahis in these forms. So he was much influenced by Tolstoy and John Ruskin. Gandhiji developed Satyagraha, that is devotion to the truth and truth force, as a strategy, in which campaigners went on peaceful marches and presented themselves for arrest in protest against unjust laws. So in South Africa, he launched the Satyagraha as a strategy. So here they follow a peaceful marches against the unjust law made by the British in South Africa. He experimented with it for fighting the issues of immigration and racial discrimination. So immigration here, people of other country, those who settled in South Africa, especially many Indians, they settled in South Africa as a indentured labor. So indentures means on a basis of contract, the Britishers bought many Indians to South Africa. Indentures labor and immigration, and there they show this racial discrimination. Racial means based on the color, black and white discriminations. So meetings were held and registration office of immigrants were picketed. So they took the registration office as a place to protest against these two things, immigration and racial discrimination. So based on these two unjust laws, here under the leadership of Gandhiji, they took a procession in front of this registration office. So during that time, Gandhi and other leaders were arrested. Indians, mostly indentured laborers, turned to hawkers. So here indenture based on contract, they work in the tea estates of British. But now they turned into hawkers. So they became the road sellers. That is, the British, they won't give any opportunity in the tea estate to lead their life. They became the hawkers. So they continued to struggle against the police brutality. And finally, the Smith-Gandhi Agreement, the poll tax on indentured labor was abolished. So here Smith is a British governor of South Africa, and Gandhiji made an agreement and they removed the poll tax for the indentured laborers. So that is the first incident where Gandhiji showed his Satyagraha policy against the racial discrimination and immigration in South Africa. After this incident and after some time, Gandhiji came to India and he considered Gopala Krishna Gokhale as his political guru, and he advised Gandhi to travel the length and breadth of the country before entering into politics, and this enabled him to understand the conditions of the people in India. And during that time, he visited our Tamil Nadu also, and he saw the poor people of Tamil Nadu. And after that, Gandhi decided to discard his following robes and wear a simple dhoti. So before that, Gandhiji will wear a modern dresses. He wear coat suit like that. Then after visiting the peoples of Tamil Nadu, he removed everything and he used to use simple dhotis as his dress. So Gandhiji considered Gopala Krishna Gokhale as his political guru. Now Gandhiji entered into Indian politics against the British in India. So he started a satyagraha in Champaran. Champaran, it is a place in Bihar. They follow Teen Kadiya system. It is considered as an exploitative system. The peasants were forced by the European planters to cultivate indigo on 3/20th of their land holdings. So in the 3/20th of the land area, the Indians want to cultivate indigo. During that time, in the 19th century, Germany, they made a synthetic dye and they had forced indigo out of the market. So the German people, they introduced synthetic dyes. So the people stopped this natural indigo, and this made a lot of trouble in India. So the British, they enhanced the rent and collected illegal dues as a price for the release of cultivators from the obligations, so that resistance were erupted. Here we have Rajkumar Shukla, an agriculturalist from Champaran who suffered hardship of the system, prevailed on Gandhi to visit Champaran. So here still, even though there is no market value in the world countries for our indigo, here the British, they collected illegal dues from the Indians. So here Rajkumar Shukla, an agriculturalist in the Champaran area, he wrote a letter to Gandhiji to visit Champaran. Gandhiji accepted his letter and he reached Champaran, and during that time the police, they asked to leave Gandhi immediately. When he refused, he was summoned for trial. The news spread like wildfire and thousands swarmed the place in support of Gandhi. According to Gandhi, the country thus had its first object lesson in civil disobedience. So because he disobeyed to the police order in Champaran, and not only he alone, many people, many thousands of people also gathered there. He was assisted by Brij Kishore Prasad, a lawyer, Brij Kishore Prasad and Rajendra Prasad. This Rajendra Prasad, then later he became the first president of independent India. Actually, the lieutenant governor eventually formed a committee with Gandhi as a member, which recommended the abolition of Teen Kadiya system, thereby ending the oppression of the peasants by the indigo planters. So after the arrest, Gandhiji and the Lieutenant Governor and Brij Kishore Prasad and Rajendra Prasad, they form a committee and they recommended the abolition of Teen Kadiya system, as well as the British also removed the Teen Kadiya system in Champaran area. So this made Gandhiji as a great leader, followed by his Satyagraha. After the success of Champaran Satyagraha, he also intervened in the Ahmedabad mill strike in 1980 and Kedah Satyagraha in 1980. So these three incidents helped Gandhiji establish himself as a leader of mass struggle. So first, after coming to India, he considered Gopalakrishna Gokhale as his political guru. The first one is in Champaran Satyagraha. So in Bihar, the British, they follow Teen Kadiya system. So he protested against this, and later the British, they abolished Teen Kadiya system. And not only this, he intervened in the Ahmedabad mill strike and Kedah Satyagraha. So these three incidents made Gandhiji as a mass leader. The next is about Rowlatt Satyagraha. The British, they introduced Government of India Act in 1990, but it causes disappointment to Indians because it did not transfer real powers to the Indians. And not only this, they introduced an Rowlatt Act. Under this act, it shows an excessive police powers and arrest without warrant and detention without trial. So without any reason, they will arrest and they will put in jail. That's the meaning of Rowlatt Act. Gandhiji called it a Black Act, and it protest called for a nationwide Satyagraha on 6th April 1919. So after the introduction of Government of India Act, the British government introduced Rowlatt Act. Under the Rowlatt Act, so they can arrest Indians without any warrant and they'll detain in the jail. So that is the Rowlatt Act. Gandhiji considered that as a black act and he called for a protest on 6th April 1919. The anti-Rowlatt protest that was considered as a first struggle against the British under Satyagraha principle, that is they go for fasting and prayer. So it was intense in Punjab, especially in Amritsar and Lahore. Gandhiji was arrested and prevented from visiting Punjab on the same day, on the 6th April. Then in 9th April, two prominent leaders, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal, were arrested in Amritsar. So in Amritsar, two doctors, that is Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal, were arrested under the anti-Rowlatt protest by the British. Next one is Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So we are considering this as the worst incident in the freedom struggle of India. When the British, they arrested Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal in Amritsar under the anti-Rowlatt protest. On the next day, that is on the 13th April 1919, a public meeting was arranged at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. Actually, it has happened in the Baisagi day, that is the spring harvest festival of Sikhs. So it is a public holiday. So many villages were assembled in that protest on 13th April 1919. During that time, General Reginald Dyer, on hearing of the assemblage, surrounded the place with his troops and an armored vehicle. So, armored vehicle means where they use plenty of weapons against the Indians. The only entrance up to the park that was surrounded on all sides of high walls was blocked and firing took place without warning. So when many people they gathered in Amritsar at Jallianwala Bagh, it is a public ground, and hearing this, General Dyer, he came with his troops and vehicle and he closed all entrance of that ground and started firing of the people. General Dyer started firing the people. It lasted for 10 minutes till the troops ran out of ammunition. That is, up to the last weapon they shooted the people. According to the official report, that is according to the British report, they consider 379 people were killed and more than 1,000 were injured. But unofficial estimate, that is from the Indian estimates, the total death is more than 1,000. After this incident in Punjab, the British they declared martial law, that is they declared military rule in many places, especially in Punjab and Amritsar. So in Amritsar, they forced the people to flogged and forced to crawl on the streets. That is, they treated the people by they beat the people and they dragging the body on the streets. So that is those who are in Amritsar, those who participated and non-participant. So simply the British they beat the people with the sticks as well as they drag the body on the streets. That is the worst incident of the Indian history as well as in the world history. After seeing the brutality of the British, now the Rabindranath Tagore returned his Knighthood Award. Knighthood, that is a great award given by the British to Rabindranath Tagore, but now he returned that to British, and same way Gandhiji also surrendered his Kesar Ki Hindi medal, that is Kesar Ki Hindi means a best man in India. So he got an award like that. He also returned to the British after this Jallianwala Bagh incident. Again, Jallianwala Bagh incident, it is a protest against the arrest of Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal, and it's 13th April 1990. So the people, they shown the protest against the arrest in Amritsar. During that time, General Dyer, he entered there and started shooting the people, and many were died. And not only that, they introduced martial law, and they flogged and forced to crawl on the streets of the Amritsar people, and this made angry for the Indians throughout, not only Indians, throughout the world country. And now Rabindranath Tagore and Gandhiji, they surrendered the awards to the British to show the protest against their act. It is about Khilafat movement. That is, after the First World War came to an end in 1980, the Caliph of Turkey, who was considered as the head of Muslims of the world, was given a harsh treatment. So Turkey is another country in Asia that under we have Islamic rulers are there. So here the Caliph of Turkey is considered as they gave harsh treatment in their places. So they started a movement called Khilafat movement by Ali brothers, that is Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali. Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali. These two we are calling as Ali brothers. They started the Khilafat movement. Gandhiji also supported the movement and saw it an opportunity to unite Hindus and Muslims in India. So they started in Turkey, and here Gandhiji supported that movement because he thought he can make unity between Hindus and Muslims in India. Gandhiji presided over the All India Khilafat Conference held in Delhi in November 1990, same year 1990. Then Gandhiji supported Shaukat Ali's proposal of 3 national slogans. First one, Allahu Akbar, that is Allah is great. Vande Mataram, that is Indians are great here from this side. And Hindu Musalman ki Jai, that is they want to find unity among Hindus and Muslims in India. So these are the 3 national slogans proposed by this Ali brothers under the Khilafat movement, and Gandhiji also supported. The Khilafat committee meeting in Allahabad on 9th June 1920 adopted Gandhiji's non-violent and non-cooperation program, and non-cooperation was begun in 1st August 1920. So that Khilafat people they also admitted Gandhiji's policy of non-violence and non-cooperation program, and they started this non-cooperation program in 1st August 1920. So that is about Khilafat movement. It was started in Turkey, and it was started in Turkey by Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali in Turkey. It was supported by Gandhiji in India, and same way they made 3 proposals of Allahu Akbar, Vande Mataram and Hindu Musalman ki Jai. And the Khilafat people also, they adopted Gandhiji's principles of non-violence and non-cooperation program, and they started this non-cooperation on 1st August 1920. That is about the Khilafat movement. The next is about non-cooperation movement. The Indian National Congress approved the non-cooperation movement in a special session held in Calcutta on September 1920, and they considered Chelam C. Vijayaraghavacharya as a chairperson for non-cooperation movement. And this program included certain things. We'll see one by one. First one is surrender of all titles of honors and honorary officers, that is surrendering all titles given by the British. Then non-participation in government function, that is Indians should not participate in any government function, and suspension of practice by lawyers. So lawyers, they want to prohibit the British courts. The next thing under the non-cooperation is boycott of government schools by children and parents. That is, children and parents, they want to prohibit the use of government school. And boycott of the legislature created under the 1919 Act. Under the Indian Act, we want to boycott the legislature. Then non-participation in government parties and other official functions. That is, Indians, they should not participate in the official function, and refusal to accept any civil or military post. That is, Indian should not accept any government post by the British. Then boycott of foreign goods and spreading the doctrine of Swadeshi. So we want to prohibit the use of foreign goods and the doctrine philosophy of Swadeshi. Swadeshi means we want to start using Indian products. So these are the programs under the non-cooperation program introduced by Gandhiji and accepted under Indian National Congress under the chairman of C. Vijayaraghava-charya. The non-cooperation movement, here Gandhiji announced no tax campaign in Bardoli. Bardoli, it is a place in Gujarat in February 1922. And these movements greatly enhanced Gandhi's reputation as a national leader, especially the peasants. Gandhiji made a nationwide tour. Whenever he visited, there was a bonfire of foreign cloth. So here people accepted this non-cooperation movement and they started boycotting of foreign goods and foreign cloth. So they started firing this. And thousands of people, they left their government jobs. Students gave up their studies in large numbers, and the lawyers gave up thriving practices. So the lawyers, the students, as well as the government employees, they surrendered their jobs to the British, and they started boycotting of British goods and British institutions under the announcement of Gandhiji's no tax campaign. It was spread throughout our country. That is the no tax campaign. People boycotting the British goods and British institutions, they took processions also. On same way, on February 5th, 1922, a procession of nationalists in Chauri Chaura, it is a village in Gorakhpur in present-day Uttar Pradesh. It provoked by the police turned violent. So here people in Chauri Chaura village of Uttar Pradesh, they started a procession. The police, finding themselves outnumbered, and shut themselves inside the police station, because in the procession many Indians were participated. So here the police people, they won't show any agitation against them. So simply they closed their police station. They were inside the station. The mob burnt the police station and 22 policemen lost their life, and Gandhiji immediately withdrawn the movement. So this incident is considered, Chauri Chaura incident is the worst incident for Gandhiji. So Gandhiji withdrawn this non-cooperation movement, because the procession people, they fired the police station and they killed 22 policemen, and everyone is a British. So that is a Chauri Chaura incident. The pro-changes of C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru, they formed another party, Swaraj Party, on 1st January 1923. So they form another party like Indian National Congress, and they effectively use the legislature as a platform for propagation of nationalist idea. So they use this legislature council of British. After the death of C.R. Das, the Swaraj Party began to decline in 1925. So Swaraj Party was started by C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru in 1923, and they used this legislature council as a platform for the nationalist idea. But after the death of C.R. Das, the Swaraj Party declined in India. Gandhiji withdrawn the non-cooperation movement after the Chauri Chaura incident, and this made angry among the Indian National Congress people, and they were divided into two groups: pro changes and no changes. Pro changes and no changes. Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. Motilal Nehru means our Jawaharlal Nehru's father, and they argued that national interest could be promoted by working in the Legislative Council under diarchy and wrecking the colonial government within, and they were called the pro-changes. Actually, they are arguing that they want to work under the Legislative Council of British under diarchy. Diarchy means dual government. That is, some departments were under the control of British and some were under the control of Indians. So they thought of working under this Legislative Council, and then they can wreck the colonial government, and they consider themselves as pro-changes. Then Vallabhbhai Patel, Gandhiji and Rajaji, and they are considered as no changes, and they want to continue non-cooperation within the government. So Gandhiji, Vallabhbhai Patel and Rajaji, and they are considered as no changes. Is about constructive program of Gandhiji. After the Chauri Chaura incident and after the division of Indian National Congress, now Gandhiji focused its attention towards the promotion of Khadi. Khadi means Khadi craft, use of Khadi craft items, and Hindu-Muslim unity and abolition of untouchability. So untouchability, that is, in India people follow a difference between the high caste and low caste people. That's the meaning of untouchability. And he exhorted the congressman, go throughout your district and spread the message of Qadar, the message of Hindu-Muslim unity, the message of anti-untouchability, and take up in hand the youth of the country and make them the real soldiers of Swaraj. So Gandhiji focused on three things, that is promotion of Khadi, Hindu-Muslim unity and abolition of untouchability, and he encouraged the Congress people to spread the message of Qadar and message of unity and anti-untouchability among the youths and form the youths as soldiers of Swaraj in India. Now, the British government announced the appointment of the Statutory Indian Commission on 8th November 1927. That commission consists of 7 members headed by Sir John Simon. It is simply known as Simon Commission. That commission consists of all 7 members were from white people. There is no Indian as a member. So the Indians were angered, and they had been denied the right to decide their own constitution. So statutory commission means that for framing our Indian constitution, the British government recommended Simon Commission without any Indians. So this Indians, they started to boycott the Simon Commission. When Simon Commission, that is the 7 members, visited our India, the common people, that is all Congress people, the Muslim League, they decided to boycott, and whenever the commission went there were protests, and they showed black flag marches with the slogan, "Go back Simon." So in that way the Indians, they protest against the Simon Commission. The protesters were brutally assaulted by the British. In one assault in Lahore, Lala Lajpat Rai was seriously injured and died in a few days. So under this anti-Simon Commission, that is the Indians, they protest against the Simon Commission. During that time, the police, they assaulted the people. So due to that, Lala Lajpat Rai was seriously injured and died. That is the Simon Commission in India. One is about Nehru's report. The Simon Commission boycott united different political parties in India, that is among the Indian National Congress as well as among the Muslim League, that is Indo-Muslim Unity. So political parties were united after the Simon boycott, and All India Party Conference was held in 1928 with the objective to frame a constitution for India as an alternative to the Simon Commission proposal. So among all Indian political parties, they started a commission to frame our constitution. A committee under the leadership of Motilal Nehru was formed to outline the principles on the basis of which the constitution was to be drafted. The committee's report known as Nehru Report. So this report is known as Nehru's Report. So against the Simon Commission, here the Indian political leaders, they frame a constitution for India, that is Nehru's Report. Under the Nehru's report, they recommended dominion status for India. Dominion means a special status for India, and elections of the central legislature and provincial legislature on the basis of joint and mixed electorate. So here mixed electorate means both Muslims and Hindus, and reservation of seats for Muslims in the central legislature, and provision of fundamental rights and universal adult franchise. Universal, those who attain the age of 18 will get the right to vote, and provision of fundamental rights. So these are the recommendations framed by Nehru's report for the proposal against the Simon Commission. This was called as Nehru's report. In the all-party conference held in 1928, all the political parties, they accepted Nehru's report, but Jinnah proposed an amendment to the reservation of seats in the legislature for the Muslims. So Jinnah, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he proposed to amendment, that is add a special reservation for the Muslim community. Under that, Tej Bahadur Sapuru also supported him and pleaded, and it was defeated in the all-party conference. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah was supported by Tej Bahadur Sapuru, but it was rejected by all-party conference. Later, he proposed a resolution which came to be known as Jinnah's 14 point. Like Nehru's report, Jinnah made a 14 point, and that was also rejected by all India political parties. Now, Jinnah was considered as an ambassador for Hindu-Muslim unity. So in the beginning, Jinnah was considered as an ambassador for Hindu-Muslim unity, but they didn't accept his 14 points. So that changed his stand and began to expose the cause of a separate nation for Muslims. So he started demanding a separate nation for the Muslims. So that is the birth of Pakistan. We'll see this in the next classes. So here that we talked about Nehru report. The all political party conference was held in 1928, and Nehru, he prepared a recommendation for the formation of the Commission for India. So here he recommended certain things, and during that time Jinnah proposed a reservation of seats for the Muslim, and was supported by Tej Bahadur Sapuru, and that was rejected by all party conference, and he made a 14 point, and that also rejected. Now Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he started to demand a separate nation for Muslim. That's all. Thank you, Ma.